In this particular video, I'm going to go ahead and explain about the RMA document process. This includes total 6 main sections. The first is quick view, second is quick view for the refresh, third is pre-RMA, fourth is post-RMA, and fifth is root cause analysis report, and finally it's line fail versus supplier. So let's go ahead and talk about the quick view. The quick view basically gives us the whole idea of what the RMA looks like. So it's going to give us the number for the verified, line fail, and no trouble found. And on this particular RMA sheet, we can plug in the date for today's date, 13, and particular parts number, parts ID, what model they have, what parent ID they have, total quantity, any sales order, RMA number, and depending on the RMA, we just sort them on the basis of the defect code here, 1 to 9, and we sort them in different bins. So for example, for this particular RMA, the quantity is 10, and 5 is under missing component, and 3 is under display error, and 2 is under details of malfunction. so this pre-RMA projects here what the distributions of those LCMs look like. And this quick view for the refresh projects the data that belong to the refresh LCM. For example, for here, you can see that the 4 of the LCM that we receive as RMA that belong to the refresh. So this 4 out of 10 that belong to the refresh has 1 verified, 2 line fail, and 1 no trouble found. So by looking at this quick view, we can see that what is our main priorities, where are main failures, whether it's failure in our side or failure in the customer side, and also if there is problem here or in the customer ends by looking at the no trouble found number. So on the third, we can see the post RMA. This is the RMA after all this LCM go through the internal RMA QC process, and we start them after it been through the internal QC RMA process, and plug in those values here. So these all values are extracted from all those seeds in there. For example, 100MC all the way to 1009SB, and by looking at that number, we can see how many problem we have there, how many defect categories we have there, and how many where the main focus area is. So on the basis of the data collected, on the basis of those defects and the information that's provided, as well as the information that we collect from internal RMA, we'll be able to extract those data and present the root cause analysis. So for this specific RMA number, we have the root cause analysis here, which tells us that 33.3% is flex, and 22.2% is component scratches and backlight flakes, dead pixels, dust, and all that. So by looking at this root cause analysis, we can go back to our manufacturing facility and check every single functional area, and you find those areas where we can minimize those issues and reduce the RMA number. And finally, this last graph represents the line fail versus supplier failure, and that gives us the data for which we can see the RMA for example, how many line fail we have and how many supplier failure. So for example, for this specific RMA, we have 6 line fail and 3 verified and 1 no trouble found. Total count to be 10. And also the one thing that I would like to point out is that this notification checks in here. So what does this notification system does is it checks the data of the input of the total RMA versus the RMA that been through the process of the internal QC. So if we found any discrepancy in the total RMA versus the total RMA that been through the internal QC, then it will gives us some warning. For example, for here it's saying that the data verification is accurate, meaning the total RMA received has been through all this QC process and the number equals. So for example, let's see, we change the number here to 6, and that what it tells us here is total RMA is 11, but the total number of RMA that been through the system is 3, 6, 3 plus 1 to be 10. So this is not right. The warning pops up and saying that total RMA does not equal to the RMA that been through the internal QC. So it's by looking at this notification, we can figure out that which LCM is missing and which LCM didn't go through the RMA process. Here I'm going to go ahead and guide you through what does it look like for every single RMA process for the QC section. So for example, we grab one of these 1001 MC bins and try to go through internal RMA QC, and you can see here there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 LCDs listed there and with the batch ID. So for example, for the first one, 126564, this 33 is missing component. The validations after QC we found to be no trouble found. So since it does not have any trouble, there's no any root cause analysis. So this section represents does that LCD that belongs to the refresh, and yes, it does. And similarly, we can go to the next LCD 12642, and it has trouble power. Click there, not power, and the validations for the line filler, and that's from the customer side. So that's we put line fill here. For the root cause analysis, we found the broken LCDs or broken flex, and this does not belong to refresh, so that's no. And that's how we do all the way to the 1099 MB, which is good. Home button here, .id 3000, anything like that. Thank you.